right, hello. Welcome to day 9. This is an off day, so I've got my laptop out again. I wrote down what I wanted to say, and I'm going to try my best to not just read off of it. I think I did a decent job last time. I'm going to do that again. So non-exercise video. Real quick, I want to mention that this video was made today, April 14th, because I released my other videos about 9 days after I've done them. And I thought I'd mention that just in case anybody was wondering how I got so ripped and my attitude is so happy in just one day. It's actually been 9 days since the video that I released yesterday. Wanted to point that out. And what I'd like to start this video with is what is in it for you. As I know, that's what most anyone watching any video is looking for. What's in it for them? I'm afraid I can only tell you what might be in this for you by letting you know what is in this for me. And what's in this for me is that I very much enjoy helping people. It's a good feeling, and I know some of you out there probably feel the same way. It's fun to help people, and if I can do that through this, then I want to. Now, I can't assume that watching some guy, this guy in this case, in his pajamas do some exercise, in spite of hating it, is going to help anyone, but it might. And I just might inspire someone to do this stuff with me, and for now, that's good enough for me. As you may or may not have noticed, the name of this channel is Heavy Exer-Sighs. However, there is a caption under my logo underneath the sofa that reads Movement for Mental Health, and therein lies what I'm really aiming at. Moving or doing something we haven't been doing in the hope to get somewhere better and healthier, not just physically, but mentally. That part's super important to me. We've all been taught the physical condition of our body affects our mental condition and vice versa. So I've set out to prove by getting my body into a better state, I will also be bringing my mind to that same better state. And this is simply me documenting the process. A lot has happened for me in the last 3 or 4 days with my mental stuff, which I'll go into a little bit. Specifically, this exercise has affected me, or more specifically, my depression. It's been super interesting and exciting even, and I'd like to share some of what I'm noticing. But before I do that, I'd like to tell you how I got here, as maybe you can relate, and maybe some of what I talk about strikes a chord with you, and you'll immediately understand why I'm doing this, and maybe you'll even want to join me in doing it. As I briefly mentioned, I struggle with depression. I have for a long time now, and some of the things that depression affect are things like my motivation, my mood, how I feel about the world, my life, my interest level, how I feel about myself, and how I talk about myself, in my own head. Anybody that has depression or knows someone knows what I'm talking about. With that, I've had therapy sessions, numerous. I've spoken with psychologists, psychiatrists in the past. This is how I was diagnosed with depression in the first place. Trying to figure out what was wrong. I was diagnosed with clinical depression, and I remember being told it was of a biological or chemical nature. Simply put, it wasn't something that I could think or logic my way out of, but I could manage it through medication, diet, exercise, and cognitive practices. So I tried all those things. I did some of the work and I changed some of the things. I found a medication that seemed to make a difference for me, and things would get better from time to time. However, I would struggle with staying on the medication because once I started to feel pretty good again, I'd start to think I no longer needed the meds and could likely be fine without them. And again, I'm sure maybe some of you experienced the same thing. And this was always against the advice of any professional that I was speaking to at the time, by the way. Still, I would stop taking meds and I'd make it some way down the road until inevitably depression would set back in and I'd have to start the process all over again. So what you're looking at right now is another starting the process all over again period for me, as I've been off meds for 6 or 7 years now, during which I decided to self-medicate using mostly legal substances that, if I'm being honest, would simply enable my desire for escapism and distraction, and I'm sure a bunch of behavior that has been less than good for me. Over the last 6 months, I've gotten to a point where I've felt tired of this, like fed up and angry kind of tired. Tired of depression and tired of telling myself what I've been doing to cope was okay. Hence, I started exercising. Granted, I continue doing the rest of the less than good things for me, but at least now I was exercising too. And like I mentioned before, the thing I like about exercise is you can do it absolutely anytime you want and pretty much anywhere you want. So yes, about 6 months ago, I started doing the very exercise that I'm doing right now every day. But the problem I ran into was that it wasn't being consistent. I'd do like a week's worth of exercise and then take a few days off, and then a couple more days of exercise, and then I would take a week off. So it was helping, but not in the way that I wanted. And I knew one of the reasons was that I wasn't holding myself accountable in a way that kept me going. Enter the idea to make YouTube videos as a way to help make myself accountable for staying consistent and keeping the ball rolling. So really what you're seeing here is my pretending that I have an audience that needs me to show up every day, right? Am I lying to myself? Am I delusional? I don't know. I'm too busy making exercise videos. And here's what I've noticed it's been really helpful, and I hadn't thought of this or planned on this when I started in on this making exercise videos. Number one, being on camera is like having this audience I'm talking about that's watching me, even if there's not one that's really there. And in this case, I'm putting these videos on YouTube so that there is at least a potential audience that is watching, giving more weight to my imaginary audience, right? With that, my make-believe audience that's watching me do these exercises actually gives me like this pseudo encouragement I need to get the exercises done in a way that doing them off of the camera by myself, it hasn't done that yet. This is because I think most people would agree with me that we behave differently when we think we're being watched. And in my case, I'm just using this notion to help me get my exercise done. Additionally, and more important, to me is that if any of what I'm doing is potentially inspiring or helping someone else out there do this with me or just starting on their own routine, I mean, that motivates me more than anything. I'd hate to let them down if I'm helping them do it. So that gets me back in front of the camera. Now, I know I'm not the only one that will do something for someone else before they'll do it for themselves. So if you're like that too, then you get the psych trick. I'm kind of playing on myself here. I have noticed that. On camera is way different. Number two, another thing I noticed about being on camera is, as opposed to not being on camera, is the amount of time that I spend between exercises. When I do this stuff off camera, I seem to take much more time transitioning from, say, push-ups into sit-ups. Because what do I care? I mean, nobody's watching. I can get up between those two exercises if I want and go make myself a coffee and, fiddle about, and I have actually done that in the past. So with these videos, I can't really do that if I want them to be short and to the point. So the total time I spend to get all my exercises done has certainly improved, and it seems to be way more efficient. So that's been super helpful with this. Number three, up until I started making these videos, I'd have a lot of days where I would only do the push-up portion and then I'd call it a day. Again, because nobody's watching. Apparently I struggle with accountability, consistency, and that sort of thing. So again, I needed some self-accountability, and making these videos has helped me do all the exercises I set out to do every time. The last thing that I want to mention, or number four, and probably the most surprising one, again, due to being on camera and imagining that there's an audience out there, I have to walk through everything that I'm doing verbally. And because of this, I'm speaking out loud not only about the movements themselves, but the different visualizations and mentalizations, if you will, that I'm using to help me do the movements. I'm essentially assisting and inspiring myself in real time with my own words. It's a kind of self-reinforcement that really seems to help both my body and my mind. I don't know how to describe it other than I've noticed, oh wow, the fact that you're speaking out loud while you're doing exercise and trying to motivate this audience is actually motivating you. It's a really cool thing. It's been super helpful. That's all I wanted to touch on real quick. I've got a closing statement here, which is I've got to say this has been an interesting experience so far. And although I'm not loving doing the exercise yet, I do believe that it's starting to help me. It's starting to make me want to eat better and have better habits in other areas of my life. I'd love for it to help you too. So again, please feel free to join me if you are so inspired. And if you've made it this far in the video, I'm happy to let you know that I've actually just started in on the medication that used to work for me, and I have an appointment to meet with a new therapist. It's been a long time, like I said, 6-7 years, but it's time. I'm tired of this. So I'll let you know how that's going somewhere down the road. Can I say it was the exercise that inspired me to get a therapy appointment and starting on meds again? I don't know, but it certainly didn't hurt. That's what I got for today. Thanks for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.